Hi guys, Amber here. Welcome back to In Conversation with ATF. My guest today is a voice actor. He is from America, but is now based in the UK. We nearly crossed paths at Liverpool Comic Con, but we didn't, and it would have been cool if we did. But here we are, crossing paths now. My guest is a voice actor who is best known for voicing Geralt of Rivia in the Witcher series. Um, my personal favorite, Ashley's dad in Arcade Paradise, and such a good game. I've got to say, I've got a soft spot for that. Robert Nightingale in Alan Wake second, two, two. Sorry, I just read the two eyes and I was like the second. I was like, no, that's not right. The narrator in Tales of Iron, and also multiple video games, including Time Splitters 2, Second Sight, Dark, Blues and Bullets, RuneScape, Smite, Hunt Showdown, Baldur's Gate 3, and also a few film and TV projects like The Tailor of Panama, London Voodoo, Criminal, Survivor, Band of Brothers, Murphy's Law, The Second Coming, and a lot more. My guest is the lovely Doug Cockle. Hi.
Hello. Hello.
Hello. Oh my God. And because we're in the UK, it is about 20 past one in the afternoon. So this is like, I rarely do interviews in the day because a lot of my guests are from Los Angeles. So I'm usually having to do them at night because it's 8 hours behind for them. So, oh my gosh, how are you? How are you doing today?
I'm well, thank you. I'm well, and thank you so much for having me on. It's lovely to be here.
Yeah, definitely. You're welcome. You're welcome. And I was inspired to ask you on my show because my brother said to me, "Oh, there's a game I think you'd really like, and it's really satisfying. You get to play games and you get to do jobs and stuff. It's called Arcade Paradise. It's on the Game Pass." And I looked at it. I was like, "Oh my gosh, I love it. I literally have it on my Xbox, and I just binge played it. I just finished it a few days ago.
Yeah.
Obviously, not going to spoil what happens or anything like that. But if you've probably seen YouTube, then you probably might know what happens. But yeah, basically, you run a laundrette. You inherit it from your dad, and the dad is voiced by Doug. And there is a secret achievement that you get. I think it's after one of the phone calls. It's called Geralt of Riviera or Rivia or one of those, and it literally says, "Haven't I heard that voice before?" And it's literally just an achievement you get for listening to one of your voicemails. How cool is that?
It is cool. Yeah. It's funny,
Oh,
funny little reward. But hey, gamers, I'm a gamer myself, so little
oh
little
wow.
things like that are always lovely surprises, little things like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Hang on, let's have a look. Here we are, Gerald of Riviera. That's what it's called. Obviously, it's a spin on
Gerald
Gerald
of
of
the
Rivia.
Riviera. Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
little departure from Geralt, but a little bit, it's all good. It's all good. It was kind of funny
Oh
when they first.
no, is it pronounced Gerald?
It is. Do you
I
want
said
to?
it wrong in the intro. Oh
Do
my
you?
gosh, I'm
I
so
know.
sorry.
I was gonna stop you, Amber, and say, do you want to go back and restart the intro? But I just thought, well, I don't know. Maybe it won't come up again, and maybe it was a mistake. And then I thought, well, even if it isn't,
Oh my
maybe I
gosh,
just.
I
Do you
feel
want to start
so.
it over? No,
Um,
don't feel bad. Don't feel bad. You would not. You would be surprised how many people say it so many different ways. Um,
really?
so yeah, I don't know why exactly. It's one of those names, though. I think that people just get a funny little um, thing about because I mean, as long as I've known him, he's been Geralt, and as CD Projekt, it was always Geralt. But um, I mean, I must have had hundreds of people call him Geralt, Geralt. Um,
Gerald?
yeah, Geralt.
It's just because I
Um,
saw the achievement was called Gerald of Riviera, so I presumed it was pronounced the same way. And that's me
yeah,
because I've
no.
not done my homework because I'm not that familiar with the Witcher series, and I really should have done my homework beforehand. But
Ah,
I feel
oh, well,
awful
you got to
now.
play The Witcher. No,
I'm
yeah,
gonna okay, very nice. I'm sorry.
it's definitely Geralt.
Thank you for correcting me because I would have looked like a fool otherwise.
Well, I didn't really correct you. I mean, I just
Well,
said the
you
name, and
said
then
it
you
correctly, and
recognized that
and
I
then I
said it
realized I was
differently.
like, oh,
Yeah,
oh,
but that's
oh,
okay. Do you know? It's that I names are a funny thing. I don't know why it is, but for some reason, especially from um, I never quite know what to say, Oriental or Asian, but from Oriental or Asian countries, people often pronounce or not pronounce my name, but they spell my name with an H on the end, Dough, which, as we know in English, means dough,
Oh,
like the dough, like bread dough. And I
yeah.
can't, I have no actual reason why, but it's quite consistent, or at least it happens often enough that it makes me think there must be something about someone from a different language, particularly from the Asian languages, maybe, where the g sound of Doug is perhaps spelled differently if they spell it phonetically in their own language or something. I don't know. It's a weird thing though, but I'm Doe.
Doug Cockle. Cockle
Yeah.
Doug. Makes
So,
sense. Yeah.
uh,
So, Doug, I'm literally listening to one of the voicemails that I remember from the game, and is I remember hearing this for the first time because I knew this was one of the achievements where you. Okay, spoiler alert for those who haven't played Arcade Paradise, don't listen. You lose everything halfway into the game and you end up working at the Best Worst, which is like sort of packaging company. And then just like Ashley's dad just gets so mad. He's like, "You're running a gaming arcade?" I was like, "Oh no, he's really getting under my skin now." I felt like this was you personally talking to me. The way it was delivered, I was like, okay, sorry. Okay, I'm
well,
sorry.
that is how it's supposed to come across, and I suppose I channeled, the father in me to play Geralt of the Riviera in Arcade Paradise because I have two boys. I have
Oh yeah,
two male children, and they are 21 and 19 now. But when I recorded Arcade Paradise originally, I think it must have been about 3 or 4 years ago. So they were just that little bit younger then.
yeah,
And yeah, I tried to treat it like I was talking to one of my sons when, if they had done something that I didn't approve of or something.
yeah. I'm literally listening now. Just the line delivery when he goes like, "And what's worse, the real corn kernel on top of this turd Sunday." I love the script writing.
Yeah.
You sound so angry. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Like I'm gonna have to, you know what? We're just gonna have to listen to a little bit of it. Just a credit to Grillmaster for the footage of Arcade Paradise because obviously like I don't have oh, this might freeze. No, it's all right. So usually it freezes sometimes, but you know.
Morning ahead of her, and you stole it, like you probably stole those cabinets. I need the facts. You need to explain everything to me right now, or
I
you'll be
was
explaining
thinking,
it to a judge. Contact me the instant you get this.
yikes. I
Yeah,
was
yikes.
like,
I don't speak to my sons that way.
oh, I presume that, don't worry. Why did the
That's
screen go
hilarious.
all dark? I don't know. I started sharing the screen and now it's suddenly gone dark. I'm like, oh, I was
It's
wondering why the brightness wasn't going up, and then I realized I was pressing the volume key instead of the brightness key.
it's fine for me.
No, there we go. It's just on my screen, just because you know it was a little bit dark. So of course I want to talk about Arcade Paradise first. Yes, I am very based. But how did it all come about for you? How did you get the job? I know you said you started recording it 3 or 4 years ago, so I just wanted to know how it, did you audition? Did they come to you
Is
because
this
of your
is this for
Witcher work?
Arcade Paradise?
Yeah.
Yeah. Arcade Paradise. Yeah, I'm trying to remember back. Uh, Arcade Paradise came about because I worked with Wired Productions. Gosh, oh, I hope I don't get this wrong. I am 90% certain that Arcade Paradise came about because I had done another game with some of the same people. I did a game called Victor Vran even longer ago,
Mhm.
6, 7 years ago, maybe. And it's a lovely game. It's kind of Diablo-like, it's a top-down
Yeah.
RPG kind of game.
Yeah, it was Victor Vran. I've just looked it up.
Yeah, yeah, and it
Don't
was a
worry.
lovely game, and I loved working with. It was Wired Productions who published that, I think, but I worked kind of closely with Wired Productions on that, and we had a great time. And it was. I hope I'm remembering this correctly. Gosh, I'd be so embarrassing if I don't, but I'm pretty sure it was people from Wired Productions who then approached me in some way, shape, or form about Arcade Paradise. I could be wrong about that. Anyways, I know that it was because of Victor Vran that I knew people who were working on Arcade Paradise, and they asked me if I'd be interested in voicing the dad. And they came to me saying, "Yeah, this is kind of cheeky, Doug, and you can say no, and we'd still like you to do it, even if you don't want to do this. But we'd really like to name him Gerald of the Riviera. He's off living his best life. Ashley's dad is off living his best life in the Riviera, of spending his money, and just calling in to make sure that his son, daughter, whatever person is taking care of the laundromat okay." And I was like, "Yeah, that sounds like fun." So yeah, so we did it. So that's how
That
it
was
happened. I didn't have to audition. They just came direct to me and said, "Are you interested in doing this?" And I said yes. But it was because we had worked together before on another project, and they were all big fans of The Witcher, and they wanted me to be in on the in joke. And I was just like, "Yeah, that's lovely. I don't think anybody's going to have a problem with that. And that sounds like good fun."
Well, that's good to hear. Well, honestly, like you're gonna have to give me a crash course in the Witcher franchise because I've never played it and I feel really awful for not, researching beforehand and stuff. There's just some video game franchises that I just haven't had the opportunity to check on myself yet.
Oh, that's
Um,
okay. But clearly, Amber, you, whether you've known it or not, you have joined the School of the Cat.
ooh, yay. Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Well, it depends on how you look at it, I suppose. There is a character in The Witcher who is from the School of the Cat, and he's not the nicest of guys, but he's not thoroughly evil either, I don't think. But anyway, so here's part of your Witcher introduction. In The Witcher, there are different schools, different fighting styles broken up into
Hmm.
different schools, and each school has its own base in the world. And Geralt is of the School of the Wolf, but there are Witchers who are of the School of the Cat, and so their fighting style is based on how a cat moves and how a cat fights and all that stuff. And
Oh, right.
because you may have forgotten, you have lovely little cat's ears on your head at the moment. So your
Yep, my
School of the
cat
Cat,
is.
yeah, I think,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
Mm-hmm. I'm a cat. I'm a kitty
you're a
cat.
cat.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, that's really cool. Yeah, I got these off Amazon. They were really, they're really, worth the money, and I just use them for all of my interviews and anything recording. So
They're
yeah.
fun. They're super
Thank
fun.
you. Thank you. I actually did them in yellow though, but I think just black is just fine. It stands out in the dark, and if you turn off all the lights, you can just see the outlines of the ears.
Nice.
So back to Arcade Paradise real quick. Have
Yeah.
you managed to play the game at all?
I have, yeah. I haven't gotten very far. This is sadly my lot in a lot of games. I start a lot of games and I get some way into them, enough to, certainly enough to get a really good idea of what the game's all about and stuff. Um, but then often I put it down for whatever reason, and then either I never get back to it or I get back to it sporadically. And so I always end up spending the first hour just trying to figure out where I am, what I'm doing, and how to control the thing again. Um, so Arcade Paradise, unfortunately, is one of those that I haven't finished, but I have played, and I really enjoy it. It's so much fun. One of my favorite bits, weirdly, really weirdly, is picking up the trash
Oh
every
yeah,
day,
yeah.
coming back in and picking up all the bits of trash.
I know, yeah, and the gum as well, because like you're trying to dig it
Yeah,
on the fire pools when you're pulling off the like tables and
yeah,
the token machine and stuff like that.
yeah. And cleaning the toilet, fixing the
And the
toilet,
toilet, yeah. Oh
which
my
is
gosh.
constantly breaking.
Is there
But
any other voices? Oh no, go ahead, go ahead.
it's just good fun doing such crazily mundane things,
It's satisfying.
It is weirdly satisfying, yeah.
Yeah. Is there any other voices you do in the game, or is it just Gerald
I
that you
No,
voice?
just me, just Gerald, and I don't think there are there. I mean, I haven't gotten far enough in to know. I suppose I don't think there are any other voices in the game. Are there?
Well, I'd say there is because when you're cleaning the toilet, there's a guy like saying like
Oh
when you're
yeah.
cleaning the toilet and stuff. I don't know if it could be a member of the production team or something like that. I think it's other. I think other times, yeah, when you've got to debug the arcade machines if they break down, and I think,
Yes.
of course, you've
You're
got voice
right.
acting in some of the games. I don't know who those voice actors
That's
are though
true.
because they're
Yeah.
not really credited, but you know,
No, I
yeah,
don't know either. I mean, they could be me or they could be folks from the development team. But
maybe.
in terms of characters, yeah, I think Gerald is the only one I play, certainly. So
Well, that's really
yeah,
cool.
I haven't even
Yeah.
gotten to the point that you were talking about where the he gets shut down and has to go work another job. I haven't gotten there yet.
Oh, sorry, I must have spoiled it for you. I'm so
Hmm.
sorry.
No, no, no. It's okay. It's all right. There are so many people could spoil so many games for me.
I'm sorry to hear that. Like I didn't like, if you'd have told me you hadn't got that far, I probably would not have showed you that scene.
No, no, no. It's good to know that's there because now next time I'll be able to talk about it as if I've been there, even though I
Prepare
haven't.
yourself for the wrath. Yeah. Oh, so how long did the recording session sort of like take for Arcade Pop? Not as in like, what you did in a day, but like did it
Hmm.
take like over a year to do all the lines, or did it take a few months to do all the lines? How did it go for you?
Do you know, I don't remember. I think it was recorded during the pandemic. I can't even remember exactly when, but sometime during that year and a bit that was just miserable for everybody. Um, so we recorded it during that time, I think. Um, and I honestly do not remember how much time it took. It I don't think it took more than 4 or 5 hours to record everything.
Hmm.
But that was probably spread out over 2 or 3 sessions,
Yeah, yeah,
maybe,
maybe.
and
Um,
probably over about 6 months or thereabouts, something like that. And then, when it was about to when they were ready to release it, we recorded, I think, a few extra lines and some trailer lines and things like that, but yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Nothing like The Witcher. The Witcher was 3.5 years of recording and,
Oh my gosh.
thousands of lines and,
Yeah,
Arcade Paradise by comparison was a, very small, recording job for me. But,
yeah.
just in terms of the amount of time and lines and things like that. But, yeah. It was great it's something I love to be involved with, actually. I love Arcade Paradise.
That's good to hear. That's good to hear. Have
Mm.
your sons played the game at all?
Arcade Paradise? I don't know. I don't think
Or any of
so.
your games that you've voice acted in?
Yes. My oldest has played The Witcher, and he
Mm-hmm.
finished the game. I think he finished the game, the main Witcher 3 game. And he's also played Tales of Iron. Uh,
Oh, wow.
yeah, yeah. So he's played two of the games that I've acted in. He might have played more, but I just can't remember offhand. My younger son, I don't think he has. I don't think he's bothered. he's not
That's
he's not a big video game player.
right.
But when he does play, he plays things like UFC and stuff like that. He likes the fighting games.
Yeah, yeah. So along those lines, yeah. So
Yeah.
what inspired you to move to the UK then? I want to know your story, Doug.
Oh, right. Well, I moved to the UK in 1999, July
Hmm.
1999, and the specific date, if I remember correctly, was July 3rd was the day I actually landed in the UK. Yeah. Um, I moved to the UK in 1999 because I met my wife in the US, and when I met her, she was a dual citizen, US and UK. I met her in the US, and she had lived when she was a young person in the US until she was 14, and then her family, who were English, her parents were both from Sunderland. Um,
Oh, wow.
they moved back to the UK and uh, brought their kids with them, obviously. So my wife came back to the UK when she was 14 and lived here. So when I met her, she had lived both places, and we lived in the US for 3 years together and got married. And then I was finishing graduate school, and we were debating where to go. And I don't know, at the time, I wasn't particularly keen on New York or LA. I don't know why. I can't remember why. I didn't feel like going the traditional route as an actor. That's where I should have gone, New York or LA or Chicago, maybe. Um, but I just didn't feel like it. And Marianne had been away from her family, living in the US for, I think it was about 5 years at that time. And we just thought we'd have a bit of fun and move to the UK for a year. It was just supposed to be for a year. I had no idea how much work I would get over here. I kind of expected to get none. But the whole idea was to have an adventure as a relatively newly married couple. Come over to UK,
Yeah.
spend some more time with her family. I had never lived abroad, so it was a bit of an adventure for me and for her as well. She'd never lived here as an adult. And mm, one year just kind of turned into two, which turned into buying a house, which turned into having kids. And, it's just here I am. So
Yeah. Yeah. Honestly,
it wasn't intentional. It just kind of happened that way, uh, and now it's home, and it's a lovely
yeah.
place. I like being here in the UK.
Oh, that's lovely to hear. Whereabouts are you originally from in America?
Well, my dad was a Marine Corps officer, so we traveled around a lot when I was a kid. So I mean, there's several places I could kind of call home. Um, Virginia. I went to middle school and high school and college, aka university, here in the UK, in Virginia, and so I feel very much like Virginia is part of my U.S. home. The kind of Northern Virginia area. Stafford is where I went to high school, and North Stafford High School, and then I went to Virginia Tech for college.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, and all that. But my family are all from the Seattle Tacoma area in Washington State, so that's really where I consider proper home because that's where my dad still lives there. My sister, a lot of my extended family live in the Seattle Tacoma area, and I do love it there. It's a beautiful part of the world. So yeah,
Yeah,
I
I was
go back there quite often.
gonna ask you that would have been my final question before the sort of timer at the screen at the top of the screen runs out. Do you usually go back and visit?
Yeah, I go back to visit my dad and my sister and other members of my family, as often as I can. It's expensive though, is the thing. It's, flying from the UK to Seattle is
Yeah.
expensive.
Thanks.
Um, so it only happens occasionally. When my children were younger, we tried to go every 2 years to make sure that they could see their grandparents and their cousins and everybody. Um, Now there's no kind of timeline like that that's guiding when I go and when I don't. I did go a year and a half ago now, January 2022 was the last time I was in Seattle.
Uh,
Um, but I go back to the States quite often for conventions and things like that. So yeah, I'm never far gone from the US, but going back to my kind of Seattle home is less frequent,
yeah.
but very
Yeah.
nice when I can do it.
Doug, this is quite an interesting question. I want to know what is when you're going into a recording session and you're recording for a particular character who has such either a gruff voice or like one that puts a lot of strain on your throat or your vocal
Mm.
cords. What would you say is the best vocal warm up that you can do, or to like kind of preserve your
Mm.
voice if you're doing something as extreme as that?
Well, any vocal warm up is a good warm up. I mean, if you do any vocal warm up, it's good. The kind of things I do tend to be quite gentle because I'm not going to be singing or anything like that. I just want to warm things up. So I'll do I don't even know what these are called. I'll do things like just a gentle, breathy warm up to warm up the vocal cords. I'll do some humming, gentle humming. I'll just hum a tune I like, or I'll do lip trills or tongue trills. Sometimes I'll do silly things if I know I'm going into something that's quite wordy. I'll do tongue stretches, which look
Mhm.
silly. They look like this. And you just do that, do the four corners and then reverse it, things like that. Sometimes if I know I'm going to be doing a Geralt kind of voice, something really low and raspy, then I'll kind of, I'll do a bit of just a gentle out breath and activating those kind of
Yeah,
lower registered tones.
yeah,
Just
definitely
something
reminds.
that gets things moving.
Yeah, definitely reminds me of something Frank Welker would do, like sort of like down there in the throat. Obviously, I can't do it because I
Mm,
don't really have that sort of vocal range, so I could go like, it sounds like.
yeah.
It's usually like if I put a lot of strain on my throat, if I have to do like a really difficult voice, it sort of
But
goes in.
everybody has a lower register. So even though you're probably never, Amber, you probably are never going to get down to what I can do. And I can't get down to what some other people I know, like Stephen Hartley. He's a lovely voice actor and he's got this voice that's just so deep. And that's his natural voice. So if he pushes his voice even lower,
Yeah,
that's deep, deep, deep. But for yourself, if you just do the same kind of thing I was doing, you could find your lower register, and then you
yeah,
can play with your lower register.
yeah. So I do
Look at
kind
your
of do
face,
it a
just
bit
got
down
all
here.
serious.
I kind of do it a bit down here. This is probably the lowest that my voice will ever go. It's sort of like a little bit of a Raven from Teen Titans voice. You know how like Tara Strong does. Yeah, the Rabbit on
I bet you
Synthos.
can go lower than that. You just need a little help
Yeah,
to get there.
yeah, baby. I don't know. It's just hard because I have to
Yeah.
angle my head down here, and then just like it's like it's just like I have to
Yeah.
proper. And I know
It's funny
you're
though,
supposed to
because
look silly during voiceover, so you just
and
go.
actually, dipping your chin down like that actually isn't helping you. That's restricting your voice a little bit. So it's actually, and I know it seems counterintuitive because it doesn't feel right,
Mhm.
but you're actually better off to bring your chin up a little bit, not out, but up a little bit, and then more think about dropping your Adam's apple. If you think about,
Yeah.
yeah, that's a bit healthier for your
I
voice
can feel it just
actually.
like sort of dropping to the bottom of my throat. So you're just like
Yeah.
talking. So I'm talking to you right now, and I'm literally
Ah,
just
see? And now you're not straining your
there we
voice.
go. Woo! Oh my gosh, that really helped me though. I'm gonna keep that in mind for future auditions. Up, not out. Don't tuck the chin in. That's really helpful though, because I've always, tucked my chin in to do like really low voices, and honestly, I know now that's not gonna help me. But honestly,
Yeah.
Doug, thank you. That's
It's
a really
what we
good tip.
default to, though. It's a common mistake. I do it too, and I don't know where along the line in my training someone probably said the same thing to me. So all right, don't tuck your chin in. Keep your chin up. Keep your mechanism open.
Yeah, yeah. So, what exactly made you want to do voiceover? Did you want to be an actor first, or was it just straight into voiceover, or was it by chance, or did you want to go into a career? How did this story of Doug Cockle start
Oh
as
well,
in the voiceover career?
as Steve Martin once proclaimed, I was born. No, um, I wanted to be an actor first and foremost. I loved being on stage. So I went to college/university to become an actor. I wasn't going to be an actor originally. Originally, I got into university as a pre-medicine biology major. I was going to be a doctor,
Mm-hmm.
but for various reasons that changed, and I switched to acting, and never looked back. So I was going to be an actor. I didn't. I thought, well, maybe I'll. I kind of thought my career would be on stage with the odd bit of television or film work or something like that, and then just shortly after moving to the UK, I'd done a little bit of voiceover work in the US, very, very little. Um, I'd never even thought about acting in video games. It wasn't really a thing. When I started acting in video games, it was 1999, and it was only really just starting to become a thing. I just got a phone call from an agent I met here in the UK.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing a play at the York Theatre Royal, and this agent came to see the play, and she decided she wanted to work with me, but she didn't know how because I was American in England. What do you do with an American in England? I don't know. And she called me up a week or two after I met her and said, "There's this company in Harrogate, England," because I was in New York at the time. In Harrogate, they're looking for someone to voice a character in a video game, and they're looking for a genuine American. Are you interested in going and auditioning? So I did, and I got the lead role, and that's how it started. Never thought about acting in video games as a career path. It wasn't a career path back then. It was actually kind of nobody really considered it to be real acting. When I would go to castings and then they would ask me for television and film, and then, the casting director would ask me, "Oh, so what have you been doing lately?" And I'd tell them about all the video games I was doing voices for and stuff, and you could just tell that they were like, "Oh, that's not real acting. Real acting is television and film, maybe theater. You're doing video games. Video games are for kids." Nobody said that to me. It was just the when someone's asks you a question, you answer it, and you kind of see
Yeah.
in their eyes,
Mm-hmm.
there's like, "Oh, right, okay, that's not really that interesting." so, so it was kind of like that. Um, and then gradually over the years, video game voice acting has become what it is today. And everybody wants to do it.
Yeah, it's the
So
norm, pretty much.
yeah, and it's respected, and
Mm-hmm.
young actors ask me, "How do I become a voice actor in games?" And I'm like, "I don't know. It just kind of happened to me."
But like,
But
what would you, just real quick, sorry for interrupting, what would you
mm,
recommend if someone did say to you, I want to be a voice
yeah.
actor, how do I get started? Where would you kind of pinpoint them to? What websites or resource materials?
Well, I always say this is my personal opinion. There are many many ways into acting of whatever kind you want to do. I always say get, take some acting lessons first and foremost, because voice acting isn't just making funny voices. Um, I don't know what out there is. Animation isn't just making funny voices; it's acting characters. So anyone who aspires to do any kind of voiceover work that involves character, anime, animation, video games, whatever it may be, take some acting classes because you'll learn the language that people will be talking to you in. Directors, most directors will speak to you in a language that they've learned, which is a language that is about acting. But also, you'll learn tips and tricks and things that will help you along the way, techniques that will help you to support your talent. Um, I always like to say that nobody can really teach you acting. Acting, like art, like any art, people have an inbuilt, inherent ability that they feel they need to pursue. Um, so what a teacher can do for you is help you to shape that talent, help you to find ways to access it, find ways to stimulate it, find ways to also to still work when you're not feeling the spirit move you. When your talent has just gone for whatever reason, you're having a bad day or whatever. If you have some technique on your side, then you can use that technique to still do what you want to do and do it well. And often that actually stimulates the talent.
Yeah.
Uh, so get some acting classes. And then there's loads of resources. I mean, if you just type into a web browser, "How do I become a voice actor?" You'll get loads and loads of information.
Yeah.
Um, Here in the UK, there are two organizations primarily that um, uh, have some fantastic resources. One is Gravy for the Brain, and the other one is the Voiceover Network. And both of them do much the same thing. Both of them are organizations that are all about supporting young in experience, not in age, young, um, uh, inexperienced voice actors who are asking exactly that question: how do I do this? So those are two great organizations to go to. Um, each has their own merits. Check them out, see what you like best. And I think both of those are really good places to go because the people who are running them are people who know what they're talking about. If you just do a web browser search, how do I become a voice actor? You'll get loads and loads of information. Some of it's great, some of it isn't. So you have to kind of sift through. But if you just want to, go somewhere straight away, find some good advice, Graver for the Brain, Voiceover Network, two great places to go.
Sweet, good recommendations. Doug, what do you do when you're not doing voiceover? Like, for example, if you go on a holiday or a vacation or anything like that, what do you tend to do? Have you got any hobbies outside of voiceover?
Yeah. Um, hobbies are a funny thing, aren't they?
Yeah, or stuff you like to do, really.
Yeah, I like to do all kinds of things. This sounds pathetic. I'm an adult. I don't have time for hobbies. my my hobby is my career, I suppose. But I because I enjoy my work. I got into acting. I started doing acting as a career because I enjoy it so much.
Yeah.
So it is kind of my hobby and my business and my career. Um, I play guitar terribly, but I like to make noise on it.
It's
And
better than nothing.
yeah, I love it. I love just plunking around on my guitar. I play Dungeons and Dragons when I can. I love to play a good role playing game. Um, I like going for walks with my dog and my wife. That's a if that's a hobby, then yeah, that's something I do a
Yeah,
lot.
I did that as a hobby.
Um, I like to do Pilates,
Yeah.
as an exercise.
Yeah.
I go to classes for Pilates and things like that. I really enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
So I do things like that.
Yeah.
I read. I love reading fantasy work. Love it. So yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, well, honestly, that's really cool. I didn't know that you did Pilates and like all the other stuff. That you love going out for a stroll with your wife and your dog. I think that's really lovely just to hear what not voiceovers, voice actors do outside their sort of voiceover career, if you get what I mean.
Yeah. Now I'm really
Um,
curious. Why did you stop yourself when you said voiceovers?
because I completely forgot. I think it's because no, because what I was meant to say was it's nice to see what voice actors do. I said it.
Yeah.
I nearly said it's nice to see what voiceovers do. Well, it
Yeah.
is nice to see
Yeah.
what voiceovers do. I mean, they've changed the world. Come on, but like,
Yeah.
I had to correct myself in my head. I was like, no, hang on, you
Well,
just
I
said the
think it's
wrong one.
really interesting. Well, I was curious why you stopped yourself saying voiceovers and switched to voice actors because I have a problem with, well, not a problem. It doesn't keep me up at nights, but I don't like the word voiceovers for people who do voiceovers because it's just wrong.
I
A person
spoke
who
to
does voiceovers is not a voiceover. The voiceover is what they produce. A voiceover an end product. A person who does voiceovers is a voice artist or a
yeah,
voiceover artist or
yeah,
a voice actor.
yeah.
And it just every time I hear someone say I'm a voiceover, I go, no, you're not.
Don't worry. I actually wasn't going to say that. I just had the two words voiceover and voice acting stuck in my head, and I
Uh,
was like, "Where are you going to go? No voice. No,
no,
that's
it's
the wrong
cool.
voice something word. I'm just going to go that way."
No, it's cool. It's the only reason it bugs me is because I'm pedantic about English,
Yeah.
and its usage. But so many people use that. They say I'm a voiceover, and I'm not sure where that started or why it started because grammatically it's just fundamentally wrong. But
Yeah.
it's a term that's used quite a lot in the industry. So I'd be curious about the history of that, where that came from.
Yeah, I spoke to someone. I can't remember who. I'm really sorry if I can't remember, but if I do remember, my editing or something like that. But they said they don't like the term voice actor because it's not like sort of
Ah,
acting, if you get what I mean. It's like they prefer voiceover artist or voice
ah,
artist or anything like or voice. No, oh no, that's what they. It was voice acting because like it's not really it's acting, but yeah, it was with your voice, but you're not acting on screen. They prefer the term
yeah.
voiceover or like yeah, pretty much voiceover really.
Ah, I suppose everybody has their own their own way of describing themselves. I like the term voice actor because
Me too.
it specifies what you do. But I completely understand as well because fundamentally I'm just an actor.
Yeah.
I'm an actor. I do acting, whether that's, in a game or an animation or on stage or on film or on television. I'm an actor. So the medium might change, and therefore the technical requirements I have to deal with as an actor, or have to adjust to as an actor, might change. But the fundamentals of what I'm doing are kind of the same. So I can totally see that. And some people get into not voice acting, get into voiceover work, and they don't want to be actors. They want to be the voice of God, or they want to be, they want to do narration work. Like David Attenborough nature programs. They want to be the voice who
Yeah.
says, "And now the lion comes through the shrubbery to eat the cameraman." You know, so and those people actors? Debatable, not really, because they're not really playing a character. They're using their voice to impart information, which is a real skill. But is that acting? I don't know. So, is that person a voiceover artist then? Probably, yeah, because their voice is providing information, providing help, or depending on what they're doing, helping the audience to go on the journey that the television or filmmakers or whoever want that audience to go on.
Yeah. Yeah. So, Doug, brings me to my final big question, right?
Mm.
Now I'm gonna nail this because it's been going over in my head and I've just banged my elbow. Um, with you and the character of Geralt of Rivia. So yeah, I said it right. I said it right this time. Right? Yep. Okay. Ta-da! There we go. How do you feel that in a way you connect to Geralt? Like maybe similar interests or like just anything really? What sort of like when you got into The Witch, I presumed you auditioned for the role of Geralt.
Mm.
Um,
Mhm.
so what made you sort of like think, oh yeah, I like this character. This character sort of connects with me, or could you relate to him in any way? Or what was it that sort of made that sort of magic happen?
Well, every character I play, I try to approach with the idea that um, the character has to be informed. I mean, first of all, the character has to be informed by everything I know about it through whatever text I have, whatever images I have, etc. But ultimately, my performance has to be informed by me. So any character I play, I feel I'm putting some element of myself into this character. I have to, because otherwise I just feel I won't be able to perform it truthfully. I won't be able to give the character any kind of sense of truth.
Yeah.
So I I always look for in myself the things that I feel best represent what the character is, who the character is. So I've kind of forgotten what your exact question was, but in that sense,
How did you connect to the character like during like maybe your
yeah.
first audition with for Geralt?
Well, I play a lot of Geralt-like characters, and I think it's because there's a big part of me that is a bit like those kind of characters. The character being the slightly gruff, occasionally grumpy anti-hero. He doesn't set out to be a hero, but he kind of ends up being a hero despite himself or in spite of himself or because he just has that bent. Um, I've done a lot of teaching, and I went to a production of a play that some of my students were in from a university, and I was in the lobby, and this guy came from the outside and just started trashing the lobby. Picked up one of the metal signs and started bashing stuff and threatening people and tearing computers off of the desk where they sell the tickets and stuff. And he was just obviously nuts, having a really bad day. And I was the first person to step forward and try to stop him because that's who I am. I didn't stop to think, is this dangerous? I went, this is dangerous, and I've got to stop this guy. And that's a true story. You can ask any of if you ask around any of the students who were there that evening, there were loads of witnesses. It was myself and another person who stepped up to try and stop this guy. So I think that Geralt was in me already, and that's the part of me that I use to identify with Geralt. Um, you know, he doesn't want he just is who he is, and he's in this situation where this is his job. He has to fight monsters for coin to survive. I don't know how that relates to my real life. I don't know what my monsters are. That perhaps worth thinking about, but it's just that feeling of he doesn't really think of himself as a hero, but when he needs to be, he is.
Yeah.
If that makes any sense at all.
That makes perfect sense. That really does
Yeah.
make perfect sense, though. Honestly, that's a really good explanation, Doug.
Yeah. So that's there you go.
Yeah, there you have it. So, Doug, thank you. Thank you so much for appearing on my podcast to talk. I know we didn't talk about The Witcher much, but like a lot of interviews with you kind of focus on The Witcher. So, like with me, I tend to steer away from the main sort of thing that people are known for. Like I know we spoke mainly about Arcade Paradise, vocal warm-ups and stuff like that, and a little bit about The Witcher, yeah. So
Yeah.
that's why my interviews are quite unique. So where can we find you on social media? Have you got anything you'd like to promote? Maybe upcoming work, if you can, of course, or like just where on earth can we find you on the internet if we want to talk to you?
Oh, well, I'm on Instagram,
Mm-hmm.
and on Instagram I'm Doug Cockle, and on Twitter I'm at dcockle. Those are my two main social media platforms. Um, I'm playing with TikTok. I'm on there as Doug Cockle as well. Um, so you can look me up on there. Uh, uh, Plugging things. Gosh, I'm going to be at MCM Comic Con in London in end of October,
Oh
and I'm
yeah. Oh
going to
wow.
yeah, and I'm going to
Mm.
be in Syracuse, New York, at Retro Game Con the first weekend of October as well. So there's those things coming up. And now this, I don't know how much to say about this, but look out in the very near future. I'm going to be at EGX in London on the
Ah
13th
yes.
of October, 13th of October, EGX, and I'm going to be playing Dungeons and Dragons live on stage with a group of other voice actors and other people. And we're going to be announcing something kind of cool that we've been cooking. So
Ooh.
if you happen to be going to EGX October 13th, come look us up. Look for us. It's October 13th in the afternoon around 5 or something, 5 or 5:30 in the afternoon. More to come on that, but just a heads up to look out for a bit of a D&D adventure.
Sounds very interesting. I wish I could come, but I live about 3 hours north of London. But I hope whoever goes and sees you, I hope they have a really good time. And I hope you have a good time, Doug, honestly.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank
So,
you. Really nice to see you, and good luck. Have fun with the podcast.
ooh, yay. Thank you again for watching this episode of In Conversation with ATF with the lovely Doug Cockle. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you around. Thank you for watching. Bye. And I didn't do that way in front of the camera, did I? There we go. Bye. I just did it up there. Like I'm trying to grab up something up there. Thank you guys for watching. Bye. And cut. There we go.